Guess what? It's Vicki Boutin's first release with Sizzix.
Hi everyone, my name is Brennan and welcome to
Brennan's Crafty Corner. Hey everyone, my name is Brennan and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I am so excited to be playing with this new release from Vicki Boutin and Sizzix. Vicki is now one of Sizzix's designers and I'm so excited for her. I just think she does mixed media like so well but so approachable, and it just looks really amazing and I love looking at her work. So Vicki, you'll probably never see this, but congratulations. I'm so excited and happy for you. I've absolutely loved her stencils and I talk about this in the video, but I have so many of her stencils in those 3 packs, and today we have some new ones, so I was so happy to play with them. And just a quick note, Sizzix did send these to me early for something completely different that ended up not happening, and I'm just using them today so I can just play with them and share them. We're going to be doing some more Emboss Resist, so if you like that, get ready for this one. So let's get into this video. So today, friends, I have some of the brand new release from Vicki Boutin. Her first release was Sizzix. I'm so happy for her. So happy for Sizzix because this release is really fun. So I have half of it. There's another stencil set and 2 more die sets, I believe, that I don't have. So I have 3 of the 6 items. So I'm going to be showing you what I have today. And we're going to make a card because, duh. So firstly, we have the Greenery Layers Stamp and Die set. So as you can see, there's some nice foliage here, and then some nice butterflies that go with it. What I'm really liking about this Stamp and Die set, as well as the Stamp and Die set, which we'll get to in a second, is they almost stand on their own, the die set, but then also coordinate with the stamp set. So you can fully use a lot of the dies in here on their own without the stamp, but then you can also use the stamp to level it up, or just do different techniques with it. Then we have the Floral Layers #1 Stamp and Die set, and once again, some of the dies, they make an impression on the cardstock on their own, and can very much be used on their own and don't need to go with the stamp, or you can use it as a coordinating stamp and die, and I really enjoy this set. This set looks so cool, and we're definitely going to be using this today in our card. And then lastly, we have our Buildables Botanicals Stencils #1 here, and just look at these stencils. What I have loved from Vicki, as long as I've crafted, is her stencil sets. I have so many of those 3 packs of stencils from her, so I'm so excited to see them continuing with Sizzix, and I think these are some really fun designs here. There are 2 floral ones up here, we have a leafy one down here, and then we have this geometric pattern here. I'm really excited to use these as well. So let's get to creating. And as always, these will be linked below. So I have the Floral Layers stamp set here, and I just wanted to put a piece of white cardstock behind it so you could see all the different stamps in here. And look at these. What I was talking about with the dies earlier is that there's a die that will cut this out, like a coordinating die to cut it out with the outline and the stamp, or there's another die that will look similar, but just cut it out and have a similar element, but be a die cut rather than a stamped image, if that makes sense. But I'm so excited to use these. I think we're going to do a little bit more Emboss Resist. I know I do this all the time. I know I did it in my last video, but I think we can make a really fun card with this. So I've decided I'm going to use these 5 florals from the set. So just so you can see a little bit better, we'll pull out the acetate sheet here. So I'm going to be using these 2 big ones, this medium-sized one, and these 2 kind of smaller ones. And I have my Sizzix stamp platform here, and I actually like to use the stamp and spin lid more when I use this Sizzix platform, mainly because it's smaller and it actually clears under my camera when filming, unlike the regular lid, which would hit it, because you have so much room to stamp with this. But using this one, it's a little bit smaller. There's still ample room here, and it just lets me do it while filming. Clearly, as you can see, my little sticky mat here has been used and abused. There's ink everywhere, and under the paper's worse, but it still does the job. I've never had to change this, and I've had it for a while, and I use it quite frequently. So since these stamps are new, I like to go in and just kind of give them a little gentle massage, you could say. I just rub my hand over them just because sometimes I find it gets a better impression that way. Sometimes when it comes from the factory, there can still be a little residue or whatever on there, but I find it gives a better impression the first time, so that's what we're going to do. Before I stamp in some embossing ink, we're going to go in with an anti-static powder. I kind of forgot to do this and probably should have done it before I put it on the sticky mat. So if you're doing this like me and you're using some sort of sticky mat, literally anytime you're stamping and need to emboss, make sure you use the anti-static powder beforehand, because all the powder is going to do is end up getting stuck on the sticky mat and make it less sticky, especially if it's like one of the Sizzix ones where once it's done, it's done. It's not like a photopolymer where you could like just wash it off. I would highly suggest doing it before. So do as I say, not as I do. I think we've learned that by watching my channel enough. You watch my channel enough, do as I say, not as I do, most of the time. So now we have our stamps here, and I'm just going to go in with some Wow embossing ink, and give them a nice good inking up here. I want to get them nice and good. I'll probably go in a couple of times because I tend to do that. And there we go. So they're all inked up. So I'm going to place this back in the platform here, and I'm going to stamp them out. I feel like I'm doing CPR. Staying alive. Staying alive. I think we resuscitated the flowers, so I think we're ready to go. And I'm getting some nice shine there, but I do just want to go back in a couple more times. At least one more time, possibly twice. I always do this with embossing ink just because I find it's much better to have more embossing ink than not enough. Okay, here we go again. Ha, 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 ha. Staying alive. Staying alive. So I think these flowers are all set. You can see that shine in them. So I think they're ready to go. So I've taken our piece of paper here off the Sizzix stamp platform, and as you can see, look at that shine, which means we are all ready to pour our powder over the ink, or over the stamped image. So we're gonna come in here with some white embossing powder, and we're just gonna give it a nice pour. There we go. I think those came out pretty good. I think there is a little excess powder up in here, which is not the fault of the stamp. It's the fault of me using not enough anti-static powder, I guess, or something. But we can kind of just go along the edge and scrape a lot of it out. I might go in there with, I don't know, maybe a little paintbrush and try, but it's not the end of the world. So now it's time to heat this up and melt the powder.
Watching embossing powder melt is like the best part of crafting, right? Isn't it? Yeah, I think so.
Okay, as you can see now, all of our powder is melted and shining, and I think it looks great. Just a little tip, I like to emboss from the bottom just so you don't accidentally blow any powder off, and then it could possibly look a little worse. So I find you do get a better image, a better embossed image when you add the heat from the bottom. Another reason I like to do that is because it's easier for me to watch it melt because I don't have a heat gun actively blocking it. So me being able to watch it melt can make sure I'm moving the heat gun around right as it's melting, because if you heat it for too long, it can lead to the embossing powder almost sinking into the paper, which means you won't get the best looking ink blend after, and it can look a little wonky. So I just highly suggest heating from the bottom. So I've gone back in here to get the die set out, and I have grabbed my coordinating dies. What I will say is, these aren't aligned up yet, but it might be easier if you want to ink blend over these first, or do whatever you're going to do to color them. If you emboss in white, on white paper especially, it might be easier to go in and color them first and then die cut them, because then you'll actually be able to like see the lines much easier against a color instead of white than having to try to align them when it's just white on white. But I'm not going to do that right now because I want to do it my own way. I want to be difficult, I guess, with myself. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to align these up and then run them through my big shot. Okay, so these are all aligned and taped down to the paper with way too much tape, mostly because the paper's warped from heat embossing it, so I didn't want the dies to move, so I digress. Just a little tip for lining up these dies with these stamps. The areas of the flowers where there's slightly more of a gap will have a little larger or longer piece going in between the petals, and that really helped me when aligning these up. So, to the big shot we go. And we're rolling, rolling, rolling down the river. So as you can see here, these are all die cut out, and you can see that embossing shine, and I'm really loving how these are turning out. So now it's time to do a little ink blending. Actually, I changed my mind. We're going to leave these all completely white and align them up on a white panel just all alone. And I think this is going to be our finished card right here. Done! No, I'm joking. But the reason I'm doing this is I just kind of want to see how I want to lay these out. I'm obviously not going to be using white background, Although, let me just say, if you did this in the flowers in vellum and did it the exact same way, great wedding card. Great wedding card potential there. So what I was thinking of doing is like doing the big three like this, and then maybe just like popping one of the smaller ones on up, or the two smaller ones up, like this maybe? I don't know. We'll figure it out. Something like this. I was just trying to figure out what colors to do. So maybe we'll do the center one color, these two in another color, and then these two in a different color. I was just thinking like for grouping. So we'll have one of one color, and then each two will have their own two colors, if that makes sense. So let's just get to ink blending. I think I want to go for almost kind of like a sunset vibe. So we're going to be using some pink, orange, and purple inks, all from Altenew. So the flower that's going to end up in the center, I want it to be like a nice pink. So let's do Fuchsia by Altenew, and this is the fresh dye ink, the new round, or the new-ish round ones. They've been out for a while now. So I'm just going to ink it up with one of my Simon Hurley blending tools here. And I am going to flip this over because, like I said, I do like to tap it off in there now. So I'm going to come in from the bottom here, and I'm just going to ink blend this up. So we're just going to go bottom to top, and it's going to come out pretty good, I think. So ink this back up and blend again. And there we go. I think this looks great. I'm just gonna like quickly wipe down my hand over it just so I can get like any excess ink that's on the embossing powder off. But I think this came out really, really nicely. So I think we're doing well so far. I have those two tiny little ones, and I'm gonna go in with Midnight Violet from Altenew. I am gonna use a small detail Altenew blending brush for this one, just because I feel like if I go in with a large brush, I won't be able to get the same like blend. And yeah, I can already see this is a very intense ink. So if I went in with a large brush, I think I would like lose control because the brush would be just about the size of the little flower. So I think it's good we're coming in here with a little smaller brush first. Or well, just overall, not at first. Okay, so I think that first guy is done. It looks almost black on camera, but I promise you it is purple still. And now we'll come in here with the second one. Now we have our two little purple guys. I'm really liking them too. So now I have my two medium-sized flowers here. We're gonna go in with Mandarin Burst from Altenew. So let me grab my orange Simon Hurley blending brush. I really need more of these. I know I keep saying that, but I only have pink, yellow, and orange, which I do use a lot, but I wish I had like a blue, a green, all that fun jazz. This is really looking like a mandarin. That's like the perfect name for this color. Coming in here with this Mandarin Burst ink. Kind of doing the same thing we did with the first one. Getting that nice gradient. And I'm liking it. I'm liking it. So I think our first one's done. So now we're going to go on to the second one. And there we go. There are our two orange and medium-sized flowers. And I think they also came out really good with that Mandarin Burst ink. So now it's time to work on the background. And I have the Buildable Botanicals one here. So I have them all here. And I'm like, I don't know which one to use because I feel like they're all really pretty. Like, I feel like the floral one would be pretty. But you know what? I think let's go with the leaves. So what I'm going to do it here is you could totally do this with the Sizzix stamp platform, especially because these stencils have the holes to perfectly align it up and keep it in place. I just had this mat out, so that's why I just grabbed it. We can align it up like this. And what my thinking is here, so we're only going to go halfway up with our stenciling, and we'll have this part be unstenciled completely just that blue. We'll have this bottom part in that really dark navy ink from Altenew. So I think this is going to look nice. I'm not going to go in and mask off any area or portion just because the flowers will be big enough to cover it. So as long as I don't go too high, we should be good. I do regret going in with a blue this dark though, because I did just clean my blending brush. So I'm going to have to go in and do that again after the fact. So we'll just come in here with this navy and tap a little off. And then come in here. And, oh yeah. Oh, look at how nice and dark that is. Exactly what I wanted. Just wanted that nice, super, super deep and rich blue. And we're getting that. We're getting that. We're getting that. Whenever I think of like the word blueberries, and this is blueberry cardstock from Concord and Ninth, I think of that one scene from Abbott Elementary where Barbara's in the hallway and she's like, my favorite word, Barbara, blueberries. So that's what's playing in my head as I do this right now, just so you're all aware, because I think you all needed to know that. Let's just bring it a little bit higher. I think we should be good if we go a little higher. I think we are good here. So I think we're ready to peel and reveal. Everyone, hold your breath. This is exactly what I wanted. And I just have to say, if you had a blue envelope, this would look perfect on it, or like legit any kind of envelope. I feel like this stencil would look really, really nice on it. So now we're going to lay it out like this, something like this. But a bit, oh, it's cooking. I'm cooking, guys. I'm cooking. Let me cook. Let me cook. So I think we're going to assemble it just like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in first and do the purple, glue those down on the sides. And then I'll go in and do the oranges and then the pink last. I kind of do want to pop these up a little, but not really. We'll see. We'll see as I go. I know the purple won't be popped up for sure. So we'll go in and do the purple first and get these guys glued down. Okay, now that our purples are glued down, I'm just like thinking, like, what do I want to do here? Do I want to do it like this? Well, I know I want to do it like this. We have the layout set. It's more so, do I want to pop them up or no? You know what? I think I'm just going to pop up the pink one at the end. So these guys, these oranges can go down right now and be fine. So we'll just glue the orange ones down. Bada bing, and then bada boom. Go like that. And then this will go right here. And I think, yeah, I think this should get popped up, just the pink one. So let's do that. Just going to come in here and add a little bit of foam tape to the back. Okay. So I feel like this is more than ample foam tape. It's better to have too much than not enough, because if you don't put enough foam tape, your card can get like destroyed in the mail. I guess if you put too much, you might have to pay a little extra in postage, or you might have to do non-machinable if the foam tape's like too high, but you know what? Sometimes it's worth it. Since this is the darkest part of the blend on the bottom, and then this is the lighter part up top, we'll have the darker on the bottom and the light up top when we place it. Okay, I think this is exact, oh no. I think right here is just perfect for where I want it. So we're gonna press it down. And now, just before we put it on a card base, all I wanna do is chop off the excess purple on the sides there. So we'll come in here and give it a nice little trim. I am loving how this came out. I really, really like it. I think this is an amazing set, but we still have one more step to do. We gotta put it on a card base. What was I thinking there? We can't talk about a finished card without it actually being on a card base, because what's a card front without a card base? It's just a card front. I'm here all night, y'all. I'm here all night. So let me just make sure that, yeah, okay, we're good. I cannot tell you how many times I have glued it like upside down though, and then the card opens the wrong way. But there is our finished card. I'm really, really excited with this, and I'm so happy how it turned out. I really like just how there's the pattern on the bottom there. I'm so excited to see more stencils from Vicki Boutin because, as I said, I love them. So yeah, but here is our finished card. I'm so excited and happy with how this card came out. Obviously, I like flowers, so when I saw this set, I was so excited to play with it, and I think it came out pretty good, and especially doing my favorite technique, Emboss Resist, makes me like it even more. So, of course, I like the card. It's flowers and embossing. Thank you so much for watching, and all of the products will be linked down in the description below if you want to check them out. I really hope that you have an amazing rest of your day, and as always, bye everyone, and happy crafting. And just so you know, even during a live stream, I always do the nod. I do it. You can't see it, but I do it. Bye, guys.